to Stock Talk. This is your host, Scott. Hope you had a good rest of your week in trading. We had a down week in our portfolio as far as the levels of portfolios and cash count, but we did have some good sales this week, and we're going to talk about those. What we sold. Of course, we already talked about what we sold on Tuesday was NVAX. We actually sold out of NVAX again on I think it was the 9th of this week, which was yesterday. We'll talk about that as we look at the portfolio, and we'll just dive into the portfolio now and see how the week went. So let's do that. All right, so here's the portfolio. As you can see here, we had a red day. Markets were red across the board. You can see Dow down 271, NASDAQ down 132, and S&P down 34. So it was just a red day everywhere you looked. So our portfolio reflected that as well. On top of our portfolio, of course, here is Bitcoin. Bitcoin's had a pretty good pullback. It seems like it's in this pattern now. During the week, it pulls back, and on the weekends, it seems like it goes up. So we'll see how that does this weekend. Of course, that impacts our HUT, our MSTR, and those are tied to Bitcoin, so we'll talk about that as well. So HUT and MSTR, we did buy it towards the end of the day today as they pulled back. I think we got in at HUT at 988. Let's take a look at that. MSTR, I think it was around 616 or so. But you can see here, the market really pulled back towards the end of the day. So when I looked at HUT, it's been a good one for us. So I went ahead and started nibbling at that one. Towards the end of the day, we got around right here at 988. Looks like it dropped a little bit more even after we bought. And again, it's down even more in the after hours. So my hope is there that we do have one of those weekends that we've been having where the Bitcoin does rise over the weekend. So when Monday opens up, this thing will have some chance of going green and maybe be able to make some quick money, but we don't need it to drop too far before then. So we did lose 11 cents already, I think. So, but anyway, that's that's going to follow Bitcoin, and so that's kind of what we're waiting on. Let's take a look at that 5-day chart here, see where we're at. So you see the level it's at now, and that's a level that it hit right in this area, and it did pull up a little bit there. So went from up all the way up to 1010. So we would take that up to 1010. We could cash in on that, I would think, in a day's time anyway. So, but it has gone from that level there, or right here. You see here, that's that same level, and it got all the way up to 1053 there. So not a bad entry point that we got in today. It does look like it was a support area of some sort, and around that area anyway, around the area where it's at now. So we'll watch it and see what happens next week. But it just seems like this one has problems during the weeks where it does pull off towards the end of the week. Let's go ahead and look at that month chart and see if we can see any kind of pattern there. Yeah, so we can see where it goes down, comes back up. Let's see, September the 8th. That was middle of this week, but the trend is up either way you go. So we're on board again. We've been in this one, but we did get out of it the other day, but we're back in it now. So not like we were. Just first lot of shares I bought this week. So we'll see how that goes. So we're just going to play that for next week. All right, so HUT bought MSTR as well. I think I bought this one around 616 or 618, somewhere around there. Yeah, it was towards the same time when I bought the HUT, so it's going to be right in here somewhere. So we'll see how that one goes. Let's take a look at the charts on this one. I know this one has been going down. Yeah, so we've got a good downtrend on this one. Let's see. Let's check that level over the month's time. Yeah, this is a pretty low spot for a month. So that's probably a pretty good buy on this macro strategies, as long as nothing crazy is happening here. Here's that level, and you can see from that level there, we've had, or close to that level, we've had a run up to 767, and here we've had one that ran up to 720, and if you held it a little bit longer, you even got up to 848. So I kind of like that level. It's not a bad level. It's been resistance before, so you see here, these levels have been resistance as well. So, but once it gets through it, it does have a tendency to run on up. And so we're going to hope that happens this time around. If Bitcoin's not done yet, these will be good bets that we put in today. So we'll watch that real close. Okay, and let's see here. Going back, there's our star of the day, star of the month, star of the year, NVAX. And so last video I put out was called Sold Out of NVAX or something like that. This one's the same thing. Again, cashed in on NVAX. Same title this time. Did a little different this time. What we cashed out of last time, we had cashed out of the IRAs. Last time we cashed out of the IRAs. This time we've actually cashed out of the cash account. And kind of tell you how that went. We had been doing really good. Pull the chart back up again here. We had been doing really good. I'm going to put the chart back onto a 1 week chart here. And like I said, we have been trading in and out in our IRAs only because I was trying to avoid any kind of tax on that cash account, and it just kept going up, 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 up. So we were trading the IRAs with buying and selling, and that was working out really nice for us. And what happened was here we had this big drop off. This day here and this day here. So let's see here, what did we do this day? 254. September 9th we did sell. We sold ones that we had bought earlier, and we sold these on the 9th at a 10.75% gain. So there were some of our little bit older shares, and we decided to go ahead and cash them out, and that was good. On the 9th, but what we had done, we had been buying on the 8th, and those prices that we paid on the 8th were a little high, and that's just the way it goes. Sometimes you get on the high ones, and then also bought some on the 9th after it sold all. I was buying back in as well, and then what happened was on the 9th, you can see what happened after hours. It just dropped like a rock, and it was an ugly day. It actually dropped off before close, I believe it was, and it just because they had this after hours conference that they were part of yesterday, and what happened was people were expecting some kind of they were expecting some kind of news to come out about some more approvals being applied for, kind of the news we've been waiting on, or India and Indonesia and some of those actually approving something. But the news that came out on Thursday was some information about India needing more paperwork. So that's another delay there, as far as people were thinking. So we're going to have to wait and see how long it takes to get that paperwork done as far as the India approval goes. And they're still not wanting to pinpoint dates now on the other things like the UK and Europe and Australia, those approvals there. So we're going to have to wait on them and see what happens there. But that's what's caused the drop off. Today it held up pretty good at 245 most of the day. Let's go back to the daily chart here. Most of the day it did pretty good at the 245 level. You see around here 246. I had actually sold out last night in the cash account only. Okay, cash account only at around 245, which was still ended up being about a 3 point something percent gain for me because I was way up in the cash account. So I sold those thinking that it may drop off again today. So we went ahead and just sold out of those in the post-market yesterday at 245. Really could have done a little bit better if I'd held on to them. The day's range today did get up to 253 at the very first of the morning. So if we'd been more patient, we could have tried to, make a lot better gain on those. But you know, you never know how this is going to go. It was down. I think I woke up about 4 o'clock in the morning, and I saw it at only down about $5 in pre-market. Time I actually woke up and got out of bed, it was down $10 or $12, and it just went down, you know, there. But when the market opened, you know, it popped up to this 255, 253 level. I mean, and that would have been a nice place to have some sell orders, but you don't know how that's going to go. So it just fell from there. You see that pop was short-lived, and then it got one more run up there. Accidentally clicked that chart there, but it got one more run there towards the beginning of the day. You see here this morning, it's when it was up, and then it went back up a little bit, not as much. I don't know what my computer's doing here, but it was not what we wanted to see this morning. It was risky to hold it to me because I just really didn't know what it was going to do as far as the impact from yesterday's disappointment by everybody. Because this thing can really sell off when it sells off, just like when it goes up, it can really go up quick. So we went ahead and cashed in with that little 3% gain on that. But the real story here is we cashed in on the 3% gain, but the real issue is that we do have several shares that we bought at prices way up there as far as, you know, 260, 269, 268, some as low as 257. So we're holding some high price shares. We're down probably 9%, 8 or 9, 10%. I have to take a look at that, but we're down a pretty good bit on those already. And they're in our IRA, so that's something we don't mind holding for a long time anyway. But we won't be buying any more right now, I don't think. What I'm going to do is wait and see where this thing settles. We got a pretty good bit of shares in both IRAs, not as many as we've had in the past by any means. And if it does get further and further down, we may add to IRAs just to cost average them a little bit. But we definitely will be jumping back in on the cash account if it gets down to certain levels. But we got to see it stop first. Today was a good day as far as where it held, but then it kind of sold off towards the end of the day. They did have another little conference today, and there was some info that came out in that conference as well, but it didn't seem to help anything. And I'm going to show you that as well. Let's go back to that. You can see here, NVAX expects to make available at least 2 billion COVID vaccine doses in 2022. Well, that's fine and dandy. Everybody loves that kind of news, but we're tired of that kind of news. What we're waiting on is some applications for approvals, and especially some approvals. These deals are great, and it makes good sense to get these deals, but we've got to see some approvals, because you got to get the approvals, and before you can actually stick somebody in the arm with these things. So that's what people were disappointed about. That's why they're disappointed, and we're going to have to see just how disappointed they are in the next week to just see if this thing will settle somewhere, because it wouldn't be unlikely for this thing to go all the way back down to the low 200s, even lower. We've seen that before. Hopefully we're done with those days, and it won't go too much further than where it was today. But we'll see. We'll see how that goes. So that's something we're just going to have to wait on and just see how it goes. So let's go ahead and look at the rest of our portfolio. But NVAX is still one worth holding. Nothing's really changed other than the fact the news has not come out yet. And it doesn't seem to be coming out as early as we were hoping. But we don't, I'm not going to put a date on it either, because the CEO and everything, they're not really putting a date on it. They're just saying a couple of months now and not trying to pin anything down. So that's probably the best thing to do at this point, as much as it's been wrong. All right, so Tilray is a red day, just like everything else. Let's see what the week did. Let's see here, 5-day chart looks much like the 1-day chart, so it's on a downward trend. A very bad week for it. All right, so we don't have any action going on there. Not going to have any anytime soon. Same with Nikola. Let's take a look at that 5-day chart on it. Pretty much a downward trend on that too. So that's why you look here, and if it weren't for the Novavax and the trading with Novavax, we probably would have had a much worse week than we did. And the only reason the portfolio was down is because of the high price shares we bought towards the end. But what I was trying to do the whole time with Novavax was keep selling shares each day and just buying new ones. So and I knew that possibility this thing could drop. We'd be stuck with some high price shares, but that's okay. And I think it'll get back there one day, and we can always cost average those shares if we need to. But I knew that was a possibility but my thing was I was wanting to take that money on the ones that we had made good money on, because the ones we made, like I said, on Monday, the ones we sold, or Tuesday, it was 8.212%, I believe it was. Then the ones we sold on the 9th were like 10.75%. So that's pretty good as well. And, and the cash out of the cash account at 3.05%. And all these, the most we had anything was 1 month. That was the cash account, was 1 month, 3%. So nothing wrong with that. And the other ones we only had 6 days. The ones we made 8% on and 10% on. So good money made this week, good money pocketed this week on Novavax, even though the balance of those portfolios have gone down some. So that's what I keep an eye on, is 2 things. If you watch any of my videos, it's pocketing the money. That means make the money on the trades that you do. Make sure you're making good money. I shoot for a 6% year. I mean, that's my goal for the year, is 6%. And also when I'm making trades, I like to shoot for 6%. But what happens is you churn through, over the year, you'll churn through your portfolio balances more than once a lot of times, depending on how many trades. We've made a tremendous amount of trades this year with Novavax. So we're churning through at a 6% rate, normally a 6% rate on our money. So that's compounding. So that's why we're beating all the markets as well as far as the portfolio goes, and the percentage gain for the year with the portfolio. Even though we had a bad, I wouldn't even call it a bad week. I just call it a down week, because it wasn't terrible at all. Nothing out of the ordinary, and we're very close to all-time highs still. So anyway, it was not a bad week. If you can win one of those, the pocket or the portfolio going up, if you can win one of those, that's pretty good. If you can win them both, that's even better. That's a real good week. And when the portfolio goes down, it's a so-so week, because you like to see the portfolio stay at a higher level, but some days it does pull back a little bit, just based off of what the shares you're holding. And so we got caught with a little high price shares there, and that's going to cost us for a while as long as Novavax keeps dropping. But what that's going to set up is a good opportunity for us with our cash account, because we are completely out of the cash account, and we got all that cash sitting on the sideline, and we're going to start putting it to work once we see Novavax settle. So I hope you have a good week of trading next week. I will jump back on here Monday at some time, Monday evening more than likely. If you have not subscribed to the channel, go ahead and do that. If you enjoyed the videos, I know there've been a lot about Novavax, but this is the one we've rode all year. It's a good stock to trade, because it does have a lot of volatility to it, and it's one that I've traded for years, something I know a little bit about and been following for years. So I'm comfortable trading it. Now, we will trade others just like we did today. We bought the HUT and the MSTR. I've been trying to stay in a lot of cash, but when those things have pullbacks like that, I've got to start putting money to work. Can't let it sit on the sideline. All right, so go ahead and click that subscribe button by clicking this button right here, and go ahead and join up with us. Appreciate that. Have a great week, and we'll talk to you later on next week. Thanks.